At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
And I am Anthony Sied, and a pleasant welcome to yet another edition of our programs here at Focus on Liberia. We are here on Primetime Sunday to have a fireside chat with Liberian youth and Millennials. Welcome and welcome to the broadcast. To us that use your favor, share the broadcast with somebody in your contact. The youth of Liberia, we all agree, represent the future that we all hope for, crave for, and want to see. But how are the young people prepared? How are we playing our roles as adults to prepare them for that future? What opportunity are we providing, offering them to ensure that they are successful so that Liberia can be successful tomorrow? If they are not successful, I don't see how we do it. That promised land is waiting, but we must work it. Welcome and welcome. We have with us for the second time a group that we call Focus on Liberia Youth, and they will be focusing on Liberia's future as they give us their perspectives and background on the things that are happening in Liberia and how we can better it. Well, in the discussion we have with Slanty, I want to say welcome and welcome to the discussion. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cian. Hello and good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Narti Raquel Yiria, and I'm alongside co-host. I'll be co-hosting with Mr. Cia tonight. You guys got to hear a little bit about me and my story. So I'm just glad to be here to listen to all the other inspiring stories that we'll be able to hear together and gain some insight and value. So it's a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you so much. We also have with us Deborah. Deborah, it's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sied. Good evening to everyone. Good night to people in Liberia and everyone watching. My name is Deborah Kane-Gumper. I hail from Bon Cali, and I'm the founder and executive director of Weekend Liberia, an organization that is inspiring the Liberian dream of sustainable development in Liberia.
Thank you. It's good to have you, Deborah. Joining us in the discussion also is Ezekiel. Ezekiel, welcome, and who you are, your full name, and give us a little background of yourself, please.
Thank you for having me, Mr. CA. I'm originally from Nima County. I'm Ezekiel M. Gugle, and I'm happy to be here today to discuss everything I'm facing with the youth of Liberia because we are the people that they are talking about here tonight. So I'm happy for you to have me tonight, Mr. CA.
It's good to have you, Ezekiel. Also with us is James. James, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. C. My name is James Yancey. I'm from Maryland County. I'm a member of a service club, which is the Lions Club International, which is in Liberia and the world. And I own a youth team, which is Wonder United, a third division team, which is in the sub-league of Canada FC sub-league.
All right, Jean, it's good to have you. And again, folks, we can welcome you enough to this discussion with the young people of Liberia. We will get a little more introduction here. I see one of them joining us. Okay, once that is taken care of, we will bring that person on. But let's get the discussion rolling, and let's start with you, James. You said getting to know more about you here. You said you have an organization.
Yeah.
You are the founder and president of Wonder FC. What is Wonder FC? What prompted you as a young person to embark on this effort?
So when I was in Liberia, I used to live 72nd and We got so many youth who got the talent of playing football, and
Mhm.
they would go out there, play this football, come home, and that's all they'll do and getting their non-monetary. So I decided to open this team, and we started way back as 2019 and 2021. It became a third division team. We played for the sub committee league in Ghana. So the team now moved from 72nd, and it was able to move from 72nd to Bananville. And how the team is growing. We put those guys together. We do camp. We talk to them. My vice president and other people come to educate them, tell them the meaning of youth, what they should do, and that the street is not good. And we have so many fun with them. Even I talk to them on many occasions, and they ask me what I cannot do, how can I move this. There's nothing doing Liberia, and I tell them that you have to find something doing. If you can find, get around your friends, find a trade school that you think we can help you, that you can be able to go with subsidize whatever we can to do in that perspective. And some of them have been doing great, and some of them have stopped growing the street, and they put more time in the football. For now, we are on break because they got this district league that is going on. So I encourage them all to participate in the district league to get themselves active.
Thank you so very much. Uh, Also here is Slunty, who is an entrepreneur and aspiring philanthropist. A little more, Slunty, who is also playing co-host here, by the way, but I want our audience to get to know her motivations and the work that she has embarked on. So, entrepreneur, right? And to be a philanthropist, why?
Yeah. So I think it goes back to I feel led and called. My dad, he's a humanitarian, so he has a project back home in a classroom from kindergarten up until sixth grade. We hope to extend that. It's called Hope Christian International. So growing up, I saw, his heart and mind and where he was people of Grand Bassa, specifically River says. I just fell in love with that whole process, and it was something that I'm actually called to. I feel that God is telling me now within the whole spirit of things and how this is a heavy season. I definitely called to take everything, exposure, skills that I have here to actually implement that in Liberia. So I also have an organization called the A Crowd Liberia. It's currently in relaunch and rebranch mode. But we're a group of super aspiring, entrepreneurs and leaders within their community. So they inspire me as well. And we stand for retailers, media, entertainment, and the so I want to definitely cultivate that relationship in here in Atlanta. Something sustainable, something bigger than ourselves going into this privileged season.
Thank you, Slunty. I don't know, the connection might be a little poor. Your voice was cutting off. Make adjustment at your end. Then we will appreciate that. We also want to know a little about Deborah, and I mean, especially her work. Deborah is the founder and CEO of We Can Liberia. Yes, Liberia We Can. So, what is We Can Liberia? How is our strategy? What are some of the work that you have been doing, Deborah?
So we can Liberia execute the C agenda, which is
Mhm,
spelled out as sanitation,
mhm,
education, and entrepreneurship.
mhm,
So the organization came about with the mindset of making Liberia a better place for the youth being the builders, the national builders of the better society that we are yearning for in Liberia.
mhm,
So after I traveled to the US as a cultural ambassador in 2018 and 2019, and I came back, I felt the desire to put youth together through my influence, educate them about things I have learned or skills that I've learned or so, and then come up with an organization that we can be innovative. Because I believe that if we want to make Liberia a better place, it is not just going to be done through talking. It is done through volunteerism, that is going out there and actually doing the work. And you should no longer be spectators of the Liberian society. Rather, we should be key role actors and actresses in our own society and championing development in our country. So yeah, um, over the years for our sanitation, we have been doing our sanitary pad celebration, which we commemorate the May 29 International Women Pad Day. And also we have our open dedication campaign for which we construct public latrines in rural Liberia. And now we are still in Bone County because Bone County is so huge. And for our education, we have our scholarship platform that we have been able to cover about 9 scholars on the scholarship so far. And this year we are increasing the number to 10 scholars. So yeah, that's a plot. And for the entrepreneurship, what we normally do, we have workshops, we come up with ideas that our members in our organization can pitch an innovative idea that the organization can sponsor. And then through the workshop, we can also provide soap training, like making liquid soap, chloride, Tide soap, grease, for girls in the slum communities in Liberia so that they can be their own bosses and be able to sustain themselves. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much for that information, giving some details about your organization. Mr. Segligle, any specific group or specific
No,
task that you
basically,
are
for me, I don't have an organization yet, but
Mhm,
as a Liberian, there's something
mhm.
I want to do. That's why now it's my senior year in medical school
Okay.
because I'm thinking about opening an organization. But the organization that I want to open is basically on the youth, which is the name is Health Concern Liberia. But I haven't opened the organization yet because I need to be well educated. I need to finish my high school because everything will my schooling because everything will be about medicals. So
Mhm.
everything I'll be doing going from various counties basically engaging the youth because we are the leader of tomorrow and we are the leader of now. It's not even tomorrow because everything I think about here is Liberia because Liberia is always on my mind. You got our feed there. Liberia is all that we have. You can even travel today out of the world. Liberia will be your home. It's Liberia is not better. If we can make Liberia better, then we're going to do it because we the youth. If we say, oh, the government should do everything, no, we the youth. We are the one that can make Liberia better. So I'm just coming into my organization. It's not something I've come about yet, but I'm still in the learning stage, to get idea, to know how about I can go about organization and how I can my Liberian youth can benefit from me and I can benefit from them. So
Thank you. I mean, I like the vision that you have to be able to contribute positively as a young person in moving Liberia forward. We are expecting one of your colleagues who is having some technical issues in joining us. Once we succeed, she will come in and we will get to know more about the work that she has been doing. So, folks in cyberspace, Focus on Liberia is having a fireside chat with the Liberian youth and millennials. In the discussion, we'll be getting their perspective on how things are in Liberia and what role the youth can play. So let's get the ball rolling here quickly. And my co-host is Slanty. So Slanty, at any time, you are more than willing to jump in to ask a question. And let me see, she's still having some technical issue there. Let's see, bear with us here, folks. We're trying to get one of the panelists in here quickly. That did not happen. Okay, let's take a short break and see if we can get her in as quickly as possible. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back to resolve that issue. Stay tuned, folks. Don't go anywhere. We are back with you in continuation of this broadcast. We will now move to the segment to talk about the perspective of young people in Liberia. So at this time, I would like to jump into that discussion quickly. All right. She did not succeed in getting in still. Okay, then we will continue with that discussion. So right now we want to know the perspective of the young people. Okay, so young people, we want to know your perspective on how things are in Liberia. And for that, we will start with James. James,
Yeah.
you are a young Liberian. You are engaged with your friends. You live there. I'm sure you are paying attention to how things are. So, talk to me. How do you see things going in Liberia as a young person, from your young perspective? How you think things are going in Liberia?
Like I've been watching a couple of videos, and just it was yesterday. Ezekiel posted a lot of videos about this coach that is parading the country, and so many people is on the street. You see how the children look like a zombie, and that's so bad. So for me, like I was thinking that opening an organization, like even though I got a youth football team, but then my Snotty got a team, so or organization. So now I decided that we would just cooperate instead of opening another organization. We will cooperate. We will work together and try to see how we can push our cloud to be able to help youth, because this organization Slunty Gay is about youth, how to promote their talents, bring them up, try to change their minds. So as a young person, I talked to a couple of people, like when I visit Liberia, I go in those places like old community that I've been to and tell them that this life that they live, my God, is not right. Try and find a school that you can go to. If I can help you, I will be able to help you. I just try to encourage people because there are so many things going in Liberia that is not right. Like a guy that I know, when I was there, he was fine, but I don't know how he changed. I don't know how it's happening in that country. Like one minute you see somebody look good, another minute you go back and they start to do this thing they call kush, and you start to ask them, "Man, how this thing happen?" And everybody would say prayer pressure, prayer pressure. So I don't know this prayer
And
pressure.
James, I know you're speaking to a specific issue of concern. This thing being referred to now as kush crash. I think it's some kind of drugs that young people are hooked onto for some reasons. But on a general level, your country, Liberia, our country, Liberia, you as a young person, how do you see that country right now? Is it moving in a positive direction? How do you see it?
The country is not moving in a positive level, but we got some of our youth who went to school. Some of the youth is actually doing well because, like the past few years, I think you see some of the youth they put in their time going to university. Some of them got masters, some of them got BSc, but they don't have a job because the government is not creating a job for them to be able to work to sustain themselves. So the country is not moving in a positive way. The youth is trying. Some youth are struggling, trying to make things right for themselves, but there's the government is not creating the avenue. They are not creating the space. They are not creating those jobs that will put those youth in the readiness to be able to work, to be able to earn, and be able to do things for themselves and for their family. So because of that, now those youth that are went to school that get basic education, now you see them going to buy life because there's no job. They sit home all day doing nothing. So because of that, they leave home and they want to be with their friends out there. And whenever they with their friends out there, they start to drink, do those negative things. That's how you see all this thing, all this bad and negative energy come into play.
Thank you. And it's Nante, we're talking about, the look of Liberia from your perspective as a young person. What do you see when you look at Liberia, when you look at everything, when you look at the future of the country, when you look at everything? What comes to mind? What do you see? What scare you?
Yeah, so coming from a perspective of here actually being in the diaspora, have
Mhm,
never been to Liberia personally as of yet.
mhm,
It breaks my heart for my brothers and sisters to see, there's so many, because I will say the cons, but I also will say the potentials and the upside. There's
mhm,
so many factors that are limiting progression and opportunity in every sector across the spectrum,
mhm.
from education to healthcare, to actually for job creations, to actually obtain a job. we are some of the smartest people. Our youth and millennials, we are so smart. There's just limited opportunities, and that serves as a domino effect. If you're not necessarily um, uh, healthy mind, soul, body, that serves as a domino effect on every other thing in your life. And this is what we're witnessing right now. There's so much frustration from a lot of our youth and millennials that cause them to actually take these drugs out of frustration because if certain factors are happening, you can't get a job, you have to compromise to get jobs, there's certain things that affect your health. Is just like being hit from all types of levels. So it just creates that sense of urgency for us here and for me specifically in the diaspora to roll up my sleeves and now see in any way, shape, or form that I can do something. And I was actually going to ask Deborah as well, since she is, a young woman, how that is affecting her, how she sees these inconsistencies, and how she's faced with these challenges. But she's not here, so I'll go ahead and obviously ask Ezekiel right now. And it's funny because we all come from different sectors, so we're all seeing this from different perspectives. So Ezekiel, you coming from a medical and a health perspective, what does this look like to you? Do you think that we're on the right track? Do you think that we can get better coming from your lens? What do you see?
We can only get better in Liberia when we are waiting to make changes. Because change will only come up with the young people who believe within ourselves that we can change our society. Because Liberia will only change based on we the youth. It's not even any politician will change Liberia. But we the youth can change Liberia. Because today when you look at our health sectors, it's so bad. Even those that are taking the youth, they don't even have the medical in place to even fresh out these drugs. Some of them will even die in the process. So the only way that we as young people can help is by even the education is not even benefiting or in Liberia. Before I will talk about education, it's not, because the young people, we are the engine of Liberia economy. We are the one that can say we're going to make our economy work. We are the working force of Liberia. But today, the working force, we have become spectator. We have become sad down there. Nobody even focus. Nobody even get all the voice. We don't even have a platform to get up our issues to the or to tell the people how we feel, because we don't have the platform, and the right information is now given to all we the youth. But there is more in Liberia. The youth, we are smart to the extent that we can do better if the platform is given to us to do the job.
Thank you. We see that Sadia is joining us on the phone. Ms. Freeman, are you there? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, Sadia, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you are live and clear. Welcome to the discussion. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
All right. We want you to say a little about yourself and your organization, or the organization you are a member of. I know you are the CEO of Women Care. Uh, so talk to us about Women Care as briefly as you can, and what work are you doing?
So, thank you for giving me the opportunity. So, Women Care is a non-profit organization, and we are into menstrual health, advocating for free sanitary pads, and we also mentor young girls, help them to reach their full potential by offering mentorship, and also programs, that will enhance them.
So your main focus here is sanitary pad,
Hello?
something that has been a challenge for women in Liberia. I can maybe safely say, especially for young people, because your focus here is young people. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we're talking about sanitary pad. How do you go about getting them for the young people? How do you go about getting them for them, and what do you tell them if you whenever you give them the sanitary pads?
So So what we do as an organization is that we write people to help support us. Yeah, and when we giving it to them, we tell them that they should. We tell them how to use it and how to take care of themselves. How to take care of themselves while on their period. Yeah, and you know the thing about this sanitary pad. Just imagine the price of sanitary pad is are going up every day. Yeah, and people cannot afford, like girls cannot afford sanitary pad. So some of the things that we do as an organization, we engage the media too. We talk about it on social media, asking government to reduce the cost of sanitary pad so that at least people who can afford can be able to afford it for their children.
Thank you. Sadia. And Ms. Freeman, stay with you here. As a young person in Liberia, you know how things are in Liberia in your own way. But I want you to help us here. How do you see our country, Liberia, as a young person? How do you see it? Looking at young people, conditions, everything considered in Liberia. How do you see it? What do you feel? How do you feel? You think Liberia is going somewhere? Are there hopes? Are there opportunities for young people in the country to be a better country? What do you see? What do you feel?
You see, I didn't get you clearly, network.
I want to get your perspective, your understanding, the way you see things in Liberia as a young person. Is there hope for our country, Liberia, given what you see as a young person, given the opportunities that may or may not be there for young people? What do you see when you look at Liberia today?
Two things are much difficult now, but I believe that Liberia can be great and things can change. Only if we as youth, bear in mind that the future does not lie on the other one, but on us. And therefore, we should roll up our sleeves and, we should roll up our sleeves as youth in our various sectors. Whatsoever we find ourselves in, we should do it better. If you are in the teaching sector, government, even NGO, we should do our best so that Liberia can be better.
Thank you so very much. Let us continue.
Sadia made.
Go ahead, Snotty. Go ahead, Snotty.
No, I was just going to say, alluding to Sadia's point, where she made a good point on everybody rolling up their sleeves to do something. And I love this discussion because each and every single person, as I was listening to us as youth and millennials, we gave the disadvantages, right? But we also gave that potential. We said, this is what's happening right now. This is what we're faced with. This is what's going on. However, we put the upside potential there. So we see the potentialities and we see what we can do as youth if we actually get in there and decide to roll up our sleeves and lead the examples in our respective sectors or industries. So I actually want to ask the question, as us women, and I thank you guys so much, Deborah and Sadia, for your efforts to help our young women, young girls with, personal hygiene, sanitary pads, because it's something that's really not talked about. But, the bonus that you guys have to actually get this initiative and take it to the next level is beyond. So thank you so much for that. So Deborah, I just wanted to ask, given what we last, talked about, what role can you say that you can play right now or you're playing? Because we're all making up a good chunk of this population is youth. Do you think we are prepared as a whole to take over? What role would you individually want to continue playing in as far as doing more? What could you say you could actually do if you
So
had if you had the opportunity for um, everything, a great better opportunity, better everything environment, we would say right now currently, given our current situation.
So, from my experiences in the youth setting in Liberia, I would always love to be an implementer. Why? Because over the years, over the time, a lot of people have said things, have had a lot of great ideas, but those ideas have not been manifested into the physical society in Liberia. So there is this saying that says like once you have the idea but fail to like turn that ideas into action, it becomes useless. So I will always love to be an implementer, and also as a young leader in Liberia, I have recognized that I have influence in the youthful setting. So I tend to use that my ability to enact change because I believe that we are pioneers to the better future that we envision for Liberia. We have a role to play as the youth because if you look at the demographic of Liberia right now, the population of Liberia, you will notice that the young people are dominating the overall population of Liberia. So that means the growth and development of Liberia is heavily dependent on the youth. And how can we do that? We can only achieve better development, good society if we change our mindset. Because I believe that the entire growth and development or Liberia being done is derived from the mindset of the youth or the mindset of other people about Liberian youth. Because most of the time you will hear like internationally, locally or nationally, you hear people like, oh yeah, Liberian youth, they are lazy, they're not serious. So I think where as or emerging leader I come in is to influence people I'm able to influence. Because I believe that if I can change one person, another person can change another person, and that's how the chain of growth, the chain of implementation goes on throughout the youth arena.
Thank you. And
Period.
let me
Yes,
come to
sister
you,
girl. Thank you
Ezekiel.
so much, Deborah. Thank you so much. And you're doing just that. Amen to that. What about you, James? What role do you see yourself playing in Liberia, moving forward now or in the future?
Now, when you now concerning like, I would say like I'm a youth and I got influence over number of people like youth and thing. Like most time when I in Liberia, there like when I sit around those guys, I start to explain to them about my life and how things should be and where I started from and where I have come and try to motivate them, tell them that you gotta focus, you gotta put your mind together. Like people, like what she said, people say a whole lot of things about Liberian youth, and we gotta raise the notion that we are lazy, we are not talented, we don't move forward, we are complacent with life, and we gotta take this kind of notion from our mind and try to focus and try to press forward and let people see us out there at Liberian youth that are ready to move forward, that are ready to take the way lead. Because like we all know Liberia youth is the highest number of people in population. So we can't sit back as a youth and let those old folks run the country and we know we have potential. We should be putting our substance in, we should be putting our mind and motivating ourselves that we can make it and we can move things the way it should run.
Thank you. Let me come to you, Ezekiel. Um, I know in Liberia we all mention lack of opportunity, lack of opportunity. I don't think that necessarily means there aren't any opportunities at all for young people. If we can think, what you think are the opportunities for young people in Liberia that some might be taking, advantage of, and others might not be taking advantage of, or what are the opportunities that maybe leaders are not seeing and not investing for the growth and development of the young people to take over tomorrow?
For me, I would tell you that number one, the education that the Liberian youth, the education that we're receiving is not the education we need. It's outdated education that the Ministry of Education is giving us. These are outdated education. These are not things that we need right now. Number one, number two, again, the technology advancement. We lack technology advancement in our country today. Like, for example, if you are in this country, you got access. Even you decide to say you don't want to go to school, you can even do different things that are going to give you sources in life than you going to school. But we lack the basic education that they are even giving us today. That when you even get a chance to go to public school, when you check the public school, the various public school in Liberia today lack lack books, lack everything, the basis. We don't have access to these things. And there are a lot of opportunities that they can give us that we think that we can take advantage of. Number one, the technology advancement alone can help Liberia on a global scale, because Liberia, we are not lazy people. We are people that we can strive. When we say we can do this, we actually can do it. But we need that environment. We need a platform that in which that we can strive. Because even in a modern society, the opportunity is given to the youth. Then the youth can take from there and start to strive. But the opportunity is not given to one in Liberia. We Liberian, we believe that, oh, education can pay. That's not true. It's only not paying in Liberia, but when you got a chance to travel, you will know that our education system is somehow bad, because even the classroom, when you say that when the foreign student, if you are not that kind of determined person or determined student to keep moving, you will get tired to even scrap, because the education we're getting back home is actually different from what you get on a global scale.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
Mr. Sear, could you please allow me to like elaborate more on what Ezekiel said, if that's okay?
That's okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So, Ezekiel, I really agree with the fact that we lack a lot of resources such as technology, like finances that will equip our education system. But this is what I always believe in. Like I said earlier, is mindset. Because we all here, we are aware of the Charles Darwin law, right? Adaptation. So I want to believe that Liberian youth, they were born in this society and they grew up in this society, and they understand some of the lackings of this society. So I expect like each and every Liberian youth to adapt and use the little opportunity, because I myself, I came from this education system that everybody like sometimes degrade, and I ask myself, I'd be like, people say like their education system is a mess, but I'm from there, and I'm able to measure arm with other international students. I'm able to score the same grades. I'm able to use technology the same like all international students or students in America. What is it? And I realize it's mindset and how you carry yourself, how well you use those limited resources. We all have smartphones. Like majority of the youth nowadays in Liberia have access to smartphone and internet, even though internet is like so expensive in Liberia. But what do we use the internet for? What do we use our smartphone for? With the exception of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the new app they have brought, Snapchat, Twitter. You see? So I want to believe like Mr. Sia said, how like we have limited resources. But how are we using these limited resources? I think sometimes we have to blame ourselves of what is going on in our setting for the youth. We have to blame ourselves because we are not putting in effort. We are not using the limited resources. We are not like taking risks. Because in life you have to take risks. So yeah, that's the point I wanted to make. Yeah, thank you so much.
And let me follow up, Deborah, with you here quickly. You, the youth, and young people of Liberia, do you see yourself as smart or not so smart compared to your peers? Do you see yourself as innovative or not innovative? Do you see yourself as lazy? How do you view yourself when you compare yourself with other, young people in any part of the world?
For me, I think Liberian students, they are the most talented, smart, like students you can ever come across. They are the only student that can change their accent to whatever environment they are found in. and they are the only students that are able to adapt to every challenges, because that's how our society have molded us. Our society have made us to be resilient. I know that we lack a lot of opportunities, but that's the resilience that Liberian students take out there, and that's the reason why they also see it. If you look at the statistics of all the Liberian students that are studying outside Liberia, you will know that about I don't want to give a percentage because I've never done a research on that, which is an interesting research I can do also. But you'll notice that majority of the Liberian students, they are actually breaking the ties, they are breaking barriers, they are setting Liberia name high, flying the country flag. So I want to believe that Liberian students, they are very, very smart. And I mean, we are just unique, like so unique.
Thank you. And let me come to you, James. I like what she just said, about Liberian student. It's the same question. I just want to put a little twist to it. I watched a graduation that took place in China, and there was this Liberian student who spoke for the graduating class. And he spoke in perfect Chinese, even though I don't understand a word. That video went viral. I was hoping that a leader in Liberia would send for that student, that Liberian citizen, to elevate his brilliance and the accomplishment. I did not see that. But let me come to my question. I just wanted to throw that out there. The same question Deborah just answered. How do you see yourself as a Liberian, young person? Smart, not too smart, innovative, not too innovative. And then she mentioned the whole thing about resilience. You went through war. If you didn't, the effects of the impact for the war, came to you. It's impacted you in so many ways. So you shouldn't be able to struggle wherever you go, isn't it? So talk to me. How do you see things?
Like what Ezekiel said and Deborah said, Liberian students are smart, and that's true. Even though our education system is not good, but I remember I did some English course, and when I started the course, like they told me that I gotta do critical thinking. I was like, "What is called critical thinking? I have never experienced critical thinking, and you telling me about critical thinking?" So I myself like started to go through the library, YouTube, watch YouTube over and over, and I have to do paper. Like they would tell you gotta do introduction where you got to do your thesis, you got to break it down into parts. That was a whole lot of work to do, but I spent more time on YouTube trying to break the step, watch from one video to another video because I have to pass those courses. So that's what I decided to do. Like we put more time. If a Liberian travel, like she said, we are smart. So most time we try, we put more time because we know we were way back in education. So when we come here, we gotta put our focus and our mind on it. So most time I will be in the library. Sometimes if I don't understand anything, I will go to my instructor. There's so many courses that I did well in. Like when I was doing an English course, and when I did the first paper, the month it was not good. I went back to her like, I don't know how to do this thing, and she explained it. I was not getting it, so I have to go on YouTube how to do a paper that you got to do your thesis statement. Your thesis got to buy those character, those author. That was a whole lot of work for me, and I passed this course and graduated. I'm improving. I'm doing good. Like this course, I'm making A, B. I'm surprised of what I'm doing. So when I can do it, and I have been hearing so many success stories of Liberia, what we can do. So that I know Liberians are great, we are smart. So long we are given the opportunity, we're going to do more. That's why when we come into this country, we put our time, our effort. That's why when Liberians go and the graduating year, Liberian graduating was summa cum laude, it should not be strange because we are smart. It's just that we was not putting time in when we were in Liberia because we were lazy. But now we got so many competitive students out here, and we know we not come from a country that got this kind of competition, and that's a whole lot of system. So you got to fit yourself in the system, and we are
Thank
doing
you.
well.
Thank you. And Snati, I want you to weigh in on this question. You are a Liberian uh, young woman, and though you have not gone to Liberia, but everything about you is Liberian, and you live in the US, you went to school here. The issue about whether or not Liberians are smart, whether or not Liberian youths are competitive compared to their peers. How do you see Liberian youth, yourself included, in this competition of preparing yourselves for tomorrow?
Look, most of the young people, the millennials that I've even, shared or gotten a chance to hear their stories, hear where they've come from, listen to them and what they're doing in the community, what they've done as far as the innovation that they've actually implemented in their communities is very inspiring. Like everyone said, we are some of the brightest students. We're some of the brightest people, brightest young group of people there are. And Deborah said it's something, and I wanted to add on to that. She was just like, we're the only ones that can really talk our colloquial and then switch it up. Nobody else can do that. We can switch it up real fast. The Ghanaians and Nigerians. I'm bragging on my country. We can talk like them. They can't talk like us. So it's just a different level of dynamic, qualities and characters that each of us, each and every single one of us has. And it actually comes down to the utilization. Like Deborah said, what are we actually using our technology for? Are we using it just to be on Facebook and just to see the next trend, the next big thing, listening to music? All of that is good, but are we actually using it also to better ourselves, speaking to our hearts and our minds so we can help and influence our other, peers, our other brothers and sisters? So for me, there is a competitive market. There's a competitive market. We're a group of smart individuals and young people, and I love to see that. And it makes me so happy and pleased, and it warms my heart to know that, yes, we have the chances and the opportunities laying right in our hands. It just takes us to come together in unison to see the way forward and to plant those seeds and encourage also our brothers and sisters who may not think that of themselves, speaking to their hearts and minds. So absolutely, we are smart.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Sear, I just want to correct something for James. He said something about Liberia education system. I don't know why whenever people say this, it really like get to me emotionally or personally. I don't know why, but I think it would be unfair to the professor or the teacher that is in school that spend 8 hours of of their time studying from the history book just to teach a student, studying for a math book just to teach a student, and then people classifying Liberia education system to be a mess or not good. I think what the word you can use for Liberia education system, you say it is less advanced or it is improving, but you cannot say it is not good or it's a mess, because first of all, there is no good thing that can come from a mess. I am a product of the Liberian education, and I am a representation of Liberia out there. And my school, the international world knows. So I don't like it when people try to like say such words when it comes to Liberia education, because I feel like it's being unfair to those professors that actually spend their time, neglect their family time just so that they can find like lessons to teach us and we can be able to represent our country. So yeah, bro, I think you can correct that.
Okay, I agree with you, but I don't think it's the instructor, is the education ministry who gave those instructor those material to come and teach in the school. That's what I think. It's not about the instructor, it's about the education ministry who comes up with those plans.
And James, do you think that's the plans that are the problem, the policy, the programs that are being provided or put into play by the Ministry of Education, or is it just the lack of support, the lack of training? What you think is the key to what you refer to as a mess in Liberia?
It's those material that they bring to us, like, okay, like those what we did in school when we were in school, and they still teaching those same things currently now in school, and the world is advanced. They got so many things that is so many great lessons that is growing, and we're still doing those things that we did when we were in high school.
What are some of the things you're talking about? Books?
Okay, I would say like we did history and we learned. Let me say history. We did chemistry, and those chemistry that we learned when we were in high school. When you go back and look at somebody that in senior high school, you look at their note, you're going to see those same things with no modifications of those courses.
But those things are still true, though, isn't it?
What?
Your name is James. Your name will remain James. And does it
Yeah,
mean that
my name will remain James. Like I was at the University of Liberia, like somebody told, or somebody was at the University of Liberia like 2008. And when I was at the University of Liberia, the person brought some quiz that he took like almost like how many years ago, and that was the same quiz that instructor came and brought to us after all those years. Like he didn't even there no changes.
all
Just
right,
just to
all right.
come to add what Mr. what Jim said, right? for me, I'm not going to say my education system is a mess because I'm a product of Liberia
Well,
education
that's a
system.
wrong word that I use.
I came in this country. I came in this country when I was in the 12th grade, but because of the not the language barrier and thing, because I want to know much about the American system, I decided to go by one step to 11th. So I graduated high school year. But I can tell you today, if I have any chance to share my GPA with somebody or to show it, I've been on dean list principally throughout because Liberia education system is the one that molded me. It's not the American system. I only pick it up from there with determination to carry through. But Liberia system have helped me a lot. But in helping me, I will point out few things that we need to do in Liberia. You see the computer that they teach in high school need changes. Because I can tell you here, research was one thing that gave me as a student from Liberia a hard time. I was forced, because of my determination, I was forced to ask some of the instructor in my school that, okay, you help me to do this. Because they were teaching something that we don't even need, that it's not even going to help us actually. Because you will come in class and teach your computer how to face document like this. No, we teach you how to do research, how to access papers. Because in America, that's what we do, how to access paper from Canvas, how to access paper from Google Scholar. All these things is what our education system needs. It's changes. Because most of the education system things we're doing is outdated. We need to make changes. Like for the chemistry that James was talking about, I can tell you my chemistry teacher never helped me in Liberia a lot. Because he was teaching something that I never even learned. How would you go take tests from in the test book, the back of the test book, I think they get questions there. That's why he used to take his test from school. It was hard for students to pass. At the end of the day, he would tell you that, oh, you don't pass, I have been in. Give me this, give me that. And you will give it because you want to kind of the pass. Because when you try to like talk to him, he will take you as an enemy in the classroom and try to fear you, even though that you can do these things. Our education system not a mess. I'm not going to say it, but it needs a little bit of change.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Okay, I take the word back. It's a mess. It's not a mess. I take it back.
Okay, good.
But
Yeah, because
it was so
it really gets to me because I'm doing like biology. I did microbiology last semester, and all of the biology I took in 10th grade in Liberia, St. Peter Clark Catholic High School, is literally the same thing they brought as microbiology 202 in my school. So I'd be like, this is not a mess. Or mess cannot teach something that our international school will teach. You know, it's the same books we all using, but it just need improvement. That's all.
All right, thank you. The next question I have for you: what do young people want in Liberia? What do they expect from leaders of today in Liberia in order for them to be successful? What do you want? What do you expect from leaders in order to be successful? Any of you can go first.
Yeah, for me,
Okay. Yeah.
I think. Oh, go ahead. Then.
Yeah, go ahead, Snotty, please.
Okay, so I think coming from the perspective of from hearing everybody's thoughts and concerns and then voicing their pain points, I feel like a leader from all general perspectives in all sectors to lead with accountability. Accountability and integrity are, I think, major principles and pillars that if there's not an order and there's not a specific structure to get our leadership, our administration, however you want to call it, aligned with being accountable to their citizens, accountable to chains of commands, lead with integrity, then everything else, house of cards, fall down. You can't have people saying, this is happening, and realities is what it is, it's unfolding, and then you say you're gonna do something about it, then you don't do something about it, you go left, and then with the whole integrity thing, is a certain thing that when people see it, is like, how can you turn a blind side eye to the inconsistencies that's happening every single day? I mean, that's me. That's me personally. I think that those two pillars, if not more, let's start there, are super important.
And so, Slotty, in terms of creating opportunities for young people in order to be
Sure.
successful, or what do young people expect from Liberian leaders, or should expect from Liberian leaders?
More job creation. I know, it's a sense of everybody has, an opportunity, but to a certain degree, I feel like opportunities are given from structures and systems and frameworks
Mhm.
and, resources. So it's a matter of like using and utilizing the resources to create these jobs per sector, per industry, whatever that looks like. If it's vocational training, if it's actual technology and STEM school training and courses or classes, whatever that looks like, because all of that contributes to actually sustaining and driving the economy. So job creation would definitely be one of the things I say are the factors.
And any other thing you can think of that leaders should invest in for the development of the youth so that they can be prepared for tomorrow?
I would say investing specifically or like in general, investing in the private sector. Private sector, I feel like drives economies. So if there's monies that is appropriated to whatever sector there is, and there's monies that actually create jobs, it would be from the private sector because private sector essentially creates jobs. The government is there to actually appropriate those budgets, but private sector, I think, would be focusing more on how can we get our international community, our international partners on board to actually invest in our country, to give our young people jobs, because of course, I would say over 50%, we all know, we can attest to, of our population are young people. So where are our jobs for people who have graduated? Where are our vocational or technical jobs for people who are skilled with their hands? So these mechanics need to be a little bit more structured.
Thank you. Thank you. And Dennis, do we still have Sadia with us? We want to bring her in here. Uh, Dennis, if you can hear me, do we still have Sadia? I don't see her anymore on the phone here. All right. So while we wait for her, let me come to James. James, I am talking about what you young people want and you expect from our leaders today in order for you to be successful. What are the investments you think they need to make? In what areas they should make the investment for you to be successful, for the country to be successful at last?
Okay, concerning job, like now, like we are complaining that those foreigners came in the country and took our jobs and all kind of thing we complain about. So I think now government should do is use the labor ministry to be the one to help create jobs. Like I would say, like every organization or NGOs or company that come into this country, they come through labor ministry for paper, permit and thing. Those positions that Liberians are capable of holding, it should not be given to foreigner. The labor ministry should press down high on those NGOs, those organizations that comes to Liberia that, hey man, this job is our job for Liberians. Liberia, they should be the one taking this job instead of foreigner because there are so many jobs. Like you would bring somebody from another country as an HR or manager when a Liberian is capable of holding this position.
Well
Like for instance,
qualified. Yeah.
Eden Johnson created a group.
James,
Yeah.
James, the job thing that you guys mentioned is incredibly important. But there's something before job. That's preparation, right? That's
Okay.
training. That's education. And so
Yeah.
my question is, where are the areas you think leaders of today need to invest money or more resources to prepare you for the job that you really need in the first place? Because yeah, I agree with you. The job will jumpstart the economy. The job will make you, a citizen who will be able to feed a family. I'm not dismissing that. I have one and I enjoy one so much. But
Like
preparation, where should the investment be made to prepare you for this job in the first place?
into education, like we got those various ministries, those
Yeah, yeah.
we got those various
Education is broad,
universities.
James. I
We
want to
got
get
those
the meat out of you. Education is broad. Anything can be education. But where? What kind of education? In what areas? I mean, that the young
vacation,
people have
okay,
interest.
vacational schools,
Mhm.
universities try and subsidize those universities, those vacation school, like put money into them, invest into them, that they will be able to incorporate more Liberians to be able to learn.
What specific discipline or trades, that you're talking about?
Like we got, like when they talk of vocational school, we got plumbing, carpentry, electricity. We got so many trades that they can invest in, that they can put money into those trade schools, and they will be able to incorporate more students to be able to learn. When it comes to universities, like so many people struggle with tuitions. So when government is subsidizing those universities, they be able to create a space that will be able to drop those money that they charge for credits. Like some schools charge $15 per credit. So when government is subsidizing, then they're going to bring it down to maybe I'll say $7, $10 that people will be able to afford to be able to attend.
Are there some things or some areas in Liberia that our leaders are overlooking that can really prepare the young people to be able to earn money and create career for them? I know music is one area, many people have been coming. How do we invest in these areas that young people may have interest in? Technology is a huge thing, right? Computer science, coding, all these specific things.
Like computer science, we got those computer schools. Like we got Blue Cross, we got Stars. Government need to invest in those computer schools. And people that are doing music, we got this Music Union of Liberia. When government can invest into Music Union of Liberia, Music Union of Liberia will be able to open some school that will be able to train those artists how to go about music, to be able to make a very good music that is listenable out there around the world and not just only Liberia.
Sport also comes to mind, Ezekiel.
Yeah, for me, basically, I will point out few specific education that need to be changed. Because for me, I'm a medical student. I would take the nursing school, number one. From there, the doctor school, the medical school itself. The Liberia got one that I know of, Doc Lati. And that institution alone can't accommodate everybody that want to go to medical school. That institution alone can't compensate everybody. Our leader need to step in to do these things. Like we don't even have advanced medical lab. We don't have research institution in Liberia. And we look at the nursing school alone. That's what we don't have advanced nurses as a whole, because sometimes you will see or Konosale, or they can say Baya nursing school. They don't have the support, they don't have the lab, but they graduate to become nurses and they are working to our various community as nurses there, which is tend to a major problem to the health sectors. Then we'll come to the computer schools again. Are they talking about? Like for Blue Crest, as example, not every parent have the money to send a case to Blue Crest. When you listen to the school fees of Blue Crest, it's a lot that not every parent. Government can only subsidize this school. That's what they do in the Western world. Government subsidize my school. Like they give me federal aid, they give me state grant. So if I want to be a medical doctor, I will only study free there and not think about, I had to go sell to get money to pay for school fees. No. The government need to step in to subsidize the school, especially the school is one of the major problems. When you subsidize the school and you provide a necessity that with the basic education thing we need, technology advancement, or lot coding, or lot of stuff that young Liberians can do. They're able to do it. We have the capability to do it. But these things have to be they have to get on the platform, they have to subsidize. If America is not subsidizing.
And Ezekiel, the reality is that our government has always lagged behind in making these kind of investments you are talking about to prepare young people. So now the young people too should have a responsibility here. You are out of Liberia studying somewhere.
Yeah.
What are the ways young people are planning, doing to help their peers either to get out of Liberia, or how can they direct them to be able to prepare themselves? Because if some of them will keep waiting for government, they have not.
Yeah, like for one instance I can give. If you are going to UL today, if you are a young person on this lab, listen to me. America got certain things in schools that they call peer tutoring. Let's say, for example, in UL got a lot of students. If you say let's just say that student is good in biology, and you say, okay, I will open a tutoring. The only thing, just go to the Ministry of Education or the principal, whosoever is the president for the UL, you talk to them, say, I want to open a peer tutoring among our peers. That I will collect $500 for a subject. If you come, maybe you want 2 hours, you want 3 hours, you give me 500 LD. And out of that 500 LD, maybe I will get a little percentage to the university. Then I can buy materials and try to help my peers to study, because that's what they do here in the education system. They got peer tutoring, which is if I don't understand the subject, I will only go online or go on campus and will schedule my peer tutoring, and my friend will come. Somebody that look like me, that two or maybe will doing the same subject or the same major, will help me out through this process.
All right, Deborah. How can the young people help when the government or our leaders are, dragging their feet, or what they have is not enough to get to you? What do you do for yourselves?
Okay, so thank you so much. I've listened to all of the comments from my colleagues here, and upon my experience in studying international politics and that of public policy, I've come to sum Liberia probably into two, which is the lack of human capacity development and mismanagement. I believe those two are the major reason why Liberia is down into ending poverty, or maybe like down the drainage. So, like you said, one, I think that our government should pay attention to building human capacities, especially for the youth. For example, like our government should try to incorporate extra curriculum into our schools. Not everybody, like Ezekiel said, not everybody when they graduate from high school immediately, their parents have the resources to take them to college. So if you incorporate extra curriculum such as like baking, carpentry, plumbing work, like people can be able to, like, the moment they graduate, they can be so productive for the society. So I think that's one of the things our government should start looking at, like incorporating those activities into high school, and making like institutions, like providing more institutions for youth to learn. And even though we're talking about the government, let's leave it from the government a little bit and come to the youth. I feel like the youth should be accountable for all of the resources that will be provided to them. They should be able to make time, they should be able to put in effort, they should study hard and use these opportunities. And not just using these opportunities, but they should be able to maintain all of these resources. Because now when you go to LU, for example, LU was built during, it was renovated during Ellen Johnson region, like the China building, most especially on main campus. And that building was so beautiful. Like you had the light bulbs, you had running water, and everything was like so perfect. But now if you go, you will see the chairs, they all like ripped apart, the floors, they all cracking. And then people will be like, oh yeah, the engineers, they were not good. But on the other hand, if you look at it, students were the one that damaged those areas. So I think the students' role now is to maintain all of the resources or the opportunity that the government will be able to provide. But first of all, the government should create avenue, the government should create platforms that youth will be able to build themselves. Because in Liberia, I realized that government are afraid to build the youth because they want to keep using the youth to their advantage. Ignorance is what is playing in the political system in Liberia, and the youth are very ignorant. So that's the thing the government officials, they are feasting on, because we are ignorant to our rights, our what should be for us, why we should say, like who we should be in the society, because we are ignorant. So they just take us to be their puppets, to just get pocket change. And then when they give up pocket change, we can go and advocate for them, abuse all of you for them. So I think like building the capacity of youth, and also the youth maintaining those opportunities and resources, I think will put us on path to a better Liberia.
Thank you. Our final question here for the discussion: what is attracting the young people in Liberia more? Whatever that is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? Is there any danger in it? That would be our final question. Snunty, do you know anything that is attracting the young people of Liberia more? If you know that, is it bad? First of all, what is it? Is there anything wrong with that?
So you say attracting, you said attracting them as in like what? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, what are they attracted to? Where do they go? What profession entices them more? Why? And is there any danger to that?
Well, I will say, and I see this everywhere, right? This is everywhere for our young people, millennials. It will be social media.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out the next big thing, the next big trend, who on social media doing what, who boyfriend doing what, who's doing this, the drama, it happens. We're all young, and we just want to know what's going on, what that next big thing is, what kind of event is this. But at the same time, and that's here as well in the US, that's anywhere, we also see that as a big distraction. And it all comes down to, like Deborah said, everybody says equal James. Sometimes that can serve as a distraction. The utilization, it depends on the accountability, integrity, not just so much so on the government or private sector, whatever, but the accountability, integrity that we have to uphold as individuals as well, as Liberian youth millennials. That's everything, because that's speaking to our hearts and minds and the hearts and minds of others as well. So if you can't hold yourself accountable, if you don't have that integrity to do what you need to do to get to where you're going, your goals, your vision, then everything else, is null and void. It's in vain. So to answer that, I think a lot of our times, people get so caught up in the trends. They want to keep, catching up with the Joneses, play catch up to try to compete with their friend and seeing what those trends are on social media and stuff, that they're not focusing on how can I get better? How can I better my situation? And how can I better my brother or sister's situation? So, but that's everybody. Everybody has times where they're stuck on social media, and that's everybody. But it's more so of an accountability thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Deborah, do you know what is attracting the young people of Liberia more? What are they attracted to consuming their time? What do they invest more into? What to them, you know, can give them a better life tomorrow in terms of profession, in terms of career? What is that? And is there any danger in that?
I think right now the demographic of Liberian youth is
Mhm.
politics. I
Mhm.
can say, like a lot of youth, they are being becoming party sentiment instead of being patriotic citizen, and it scares me. The reason why it scares me because that can lead to like brutality, like violence, as you or like experienced the past like war. Because I was not born during that era, but it scares me so much because nowadays if you sit in Liberia, when you open your social media account, you will see like youth, they are fighting each other, calling out each other names only because of a political party. I understand that is our constitutional right to say who we love and who we want to vote for. But I think we all should be very, very like intentional. We should be careful of how we go about selecting political party and how we go about addressing our friend that is not into our political party. So I think, yeah, politics is the one that is really like attracting Liberian youth right now, because in a Liberian youth, once they graduate, you ask them like, oh, what you want to do? Yeah, I want to be a representative. Oh yeah, I want to be, a follower of the representative. So it is bad because, as I said earlier, it's ignorant. Ignorant is what driving our youth today, and our government officials, they will continue to use us if we cannot realize that we are the future builders of this society called Liberia, and we have to have our stand, we have to have our voice, and we should not be carried away down the drainage for just a pocket change. We
And
will
Deborah,
definitely.
who you think can change that? How you think that can be changed? The whole idea of young people so attracted to politics and politicians, they'll go at each other. Who can change that?
Ourselves.
Firstly, I want to say ourselves because I don't like to blame people. I don't like to play a blame game. Ourselves can change that mindset. And secondly, like the way how our society is structured, like we said, like we lack some opportunities that the government needs to provide. So
Mhm.
if the government can provide like space where you have access to job opportunities, like education, you will find out that youth will be doing more innovative stuff than paying attention to politics.
All right. Yeah. Ezekiel,
Just to
same
come
question.
in, just
Mhm.
to come in, the same thing that the people do in the Western world, they bring out the idea of divide and conquer. This is the same idea they bring into politics is one of the things that is damaging with the youth. Because as a young man, when you come out to hold a leader accountable, even for example, for instance, on the on the Spoon Show, they are sharing to us their politicians. They are telling you that you should vote the person, he will do this, he will do that. At the end of the day, all they think is audio development that they are telling all that the person here will do this, the person will build rules, and we are not seeing the actual manifestation of those development. And they have been telling all we the youth for years, long time, but still, and we had the influence to change our leader. Today, if we the youth, we decide to say we will change the person, we will change it, and nobody will stop it. We make that same thing. We did the same 2017. We changed whoever leader we wanted, and we vote the president. So we had that mindset. The youth should believe that today. If you go and elect a bad leader, whether you are sedition, you are UP, you are what, you will feel every hell that will come out of Liberia. Because there is no gas station in Liberia that will say, oh, since you are sedition, go back to the gas station. Your own is what, 150, but you from United Party, your own is this. No.
Ezekiel, you think the youth is divided on what they want, or they are united on what they want and what they
They are divided on what they want. We are divided on what we want. We are divided.
Where you see the division?
The division is the politics. Because today you will see that young men, young able men that you can able to basically, the leader has said to us that the only way you can make it in Liberia is to become a politician. That's the ideology they are said to we the youth. That the only way you can become rich, you can enjoy the resources that Liberia offer to every Liberian, you should become representative or you should become community leader.
And you think the youth believe that, and do they see that to be a reality?
They believe that that's what you will see. The few times you see most young people in Accra that we are patrolling around, the young people make up 90% of that crowd that are over there. The young people that were over there make 90% of that crowd. They come in election, you will see that the young people will make close to 60 to 70% of Liberia population. So everything out of Liberia will be the young people. We can influence our politics in a positive way, not in a negative way. Because now we are doing it in a negative way. We are making people to believe that when you are not determined as an individual, you tend to go for these things. You tend to believe.
Sorry, I wanted to get to James. And James, given what Ezekiel just said, the young people tend to say, well, the leaders of today have been the problem. From what he's saying, will you agree or disagree now that you might be the new problem of Liberia today, because you are the one who are in huge number voting these leaders based on political lines, and then they will not deliver, and yet you will support them on political lines? Where do you stand on the argument that you are the problem now, or the older generation still the problem?
We are the problem. We're creating our own problem. Like, we believe in those people come up with this jargon that they will do this, they will do that. And for the past year, we have not yet seen what they have done. And now they are coming back to us and telling us that they're going to do it. You didn't do it for those past years, and now you're going to do it. And we still believe in those people. Why would we be believing people that is not even giving up policy, that is not even telling us that what they're going to do, but they keep coming with this thing, we will do it, and we keep believing it. It's not coming out nowhere. Like, now, there's a whole split in Liberia and even in the US and all around Liberia. There's a whole split. People going against people because of politics. Family going against family because of politics. Now we got some people, you will say, like, if you don't vote this person, I'm not going to do this for you. If you don't vote this person, I'm not going to do this. That's what happening. We just keep splitting ourselves because of politics. Why are we doing all this thing? We got to listen to all those candidates and hear what is their policy. And not go back, we will do this, we'll do that. They got to come up with a policy. They are not coming up with a policy. They're just telling us that it's going to fix this country and they're going to do this and so many things.
So, Jane, you share a greater responsibility here. If we look at the demographics and when we look at the politics in terms of the total number of persons that voting majority will be the youth, you have a responsibility here. Do you see any possibility of the youth saying, you know what, I think we have been a problem, and it's about time we correct that? And if so, how do you correct that?
I don't know, from political writers I've been saying around the town, I can be sure to tell you that we're going to fix it, we're going to change. I think we want to be in the same old path. From political right, I've been saying.
This is what I see, James. I'm a guy who follow politics a little bit. In the U.S., when a greater number of the millennials here in the United States got a little bit, I don't know, should I say a little bit, so much disappointed with the political class of the United States, they saw somebody who represented them, Obama, the millennials. They used social media and they went out and they made the black guy president. He was in his early 40s. In Liberia also, majority of the young people saw Georgia as their kind.
Yeah.
And they came together and they voted him. Well, now he's doing better for them now. They can better tell their story. I'm not in their shoes. So the question is, do you see a possibility for the young people to see another person in our Liberia and say, this time, this person will do it? So I'm giving you two instances. The young people say, well, this person will do it for us. In the case of Liberia, some people can argue, Wia is not doing much for them, right? So if that is the case, will you still hold the young people accountable or responsible for the change they want that they're not getting when they have trusted some? Because what they can do is to trust a leader. Whether the leader delivers or not, it's not on them, it's the leader who they trusted. Do you still believe the young people the problem? If they should trust somebody, the person failed them?
Yeah, they are the problem. We are the problem.
So how? You elected me and say, well, Anthony will do the best for us. I feel you. How are you the problem? There can be one person at a time who will put the policy into place that will improve your material condition.
Because first of all, when this, like for instance, when 2017 election came up, we had all those candidates who came out. Some of them didn't give up no policy, and we went ahead voting for them because of love.
Right. And
now they have let us down, and we still seeing us going that same old path with the same old candidates. So we are the same old problem. It's like, when I look at the whole political scene, it's like we are not going to make no difference. We are still going to go back with the same people, because I saw some rally went on some part I know last week, and see those people, see those youth. We were out there in the rain chanting that we are resolved.
Yes.
Why will you be resolved when your life is not even better?
So all of you now, this is a concluding statement for all of you. Do you fear that the young people might miss it? This time around in deciding for Liberia, because the young people, I believe, the young population has the key here as to where we go from here as a country. You know, do you think the young people are going to get it this time, or they're going to miss it again?
For me, basically, I would tell you that this time around, we're going to miss it again. We're going to this talk. We're going to miss it again. This is something that we keep repeating. This is something that we've been doing since 2005, and we're still on our same path.
And what makes you say that, Ezekiel?
What makes me say that? Because we are not changed our mindset. When the mindset is not changed, you tend to make that same mistakes. Because they bring in the policy to what telling us that, oh, I will do this, I will do that. Are we fact checking these people? The political, the public office they are held. Are we reach out to see if they are actually deliver when they were representative, when they were senator? Are we actually checking this thing? No, we are not. We are only voting for love because the men are man, so myself I will just say I'm going for one go. No, that tribalistic mindset still holding Labrador down today. Labrador will only succeed. I'm saying this on live. Labrador will only succeed when we change our mindset. To say, oh, because a Bassa man, I will go for the Bassa person. Oh, we are yielding, we are in group, we are Charlie. We are only bringing ourselves down. We will make that same mistake again for another 6 years.
So your conclusion, Ezekiel, is there a hope, given that you see that the young people are going to miss it again, is there a hope for Liberia?
There is only be a hope for Liberia when the young men today make that change to say, oh, I will not vote on sentiments. I will vote for the person I think can deliver, and I have fact check the person to make sure that the person can do our work. We want somebody that will do it for us, not somebody that will talk in audio development.
Thank you. Deborah, you think the young people are going to miss it again, if we can agree, if they ever missed it before? Because I think they trusted somebody. I mean, should we argue the person is letting them down? Because they have to vote for somebody. If any reason they miss it, are they going to miss it again? And if that happens, is there hope for Liberia? And where is that hope, if any, if you see it?
That's a really interesting question. And as an influencer on social media, I know a lot of people just waiting for me to call a candidate so that they can support that candidate. So that's the reason why I choose not to mention any candidate that I'm supporting like in the public.
Mhm.
But this is why I always tell the youth that are following me. Always choose lesser evil. Why? You can weigh between the line reality. So if you're not seeing reality, I cannot define reality to you. Probably your own reality is different from mine. So I just tell people that I choose lesser evil. And then this is one thing I've observed over the time. In Liberia, according to history, always second term of a presidency is the time they take out all of the money that that left in the cupboard. You know, they take out all of
The
the
retirement.
saving, the country saving. I'm not saying our dynamic president, if he goes back, he gonna do the same. But I mean, there's a possibility because the records are there. You know, history can still be repeated because it has been going over and over. So I'm just so afraid, and I keep telling people to choose lesser evil. And I like, if I had a power in Liberia, I would say we should just make presidency to be one term, like no 6 years, rather 4 years. That whole 6 year thing is too long. Like, people steal a lot. And then like the second term again, that's the time that people empty the entire country's budget for another president
Oh, that one
to
is
suffer.
worse. It
So you,
is.
you see, like, so that's my fear. My fear is what we are seeing now, the reality, like all of the developments that Joey have done, like, oh, bravo to him. He have done like things also, there are good and bad. Yeah, he had done a lot of good things. But if you look at how like corruption has played out in our society, if you look at how corruption has been displayed in the public, it has become so broad. It's walking on the street and people cannot see that, and they go and vote again. I'm not saying he's bad, because he has a good side and a bad side, but well, that's on us because we are gonna stay in this for 6 years. If you look at Liberia now, you will notice that rice price has gone to $20. And what are we doing? The youth education has shrink. What are we doing? Those are the questions we should ask ourselves. What are our values in this election? Yeah. So to my youth here,
Hmm.
Yeah, she tell all her bad choice.
Yeah, maybe Dara, she's in Liberia, and we're taking long. We're using all her data. James,
Yeah.
you're closing. Is the youth gonna miss it again? And if so, is there hope for Liberia? And where is that hope?
Now we are at the crossroad. I can say if we're going to miss it or we're not going to miss it, because you see this crowd that going around within those youthful crowd, they follow like everybody, all the political parties. They follow like everybody. The other party do right it there, the other party do right it there. But I think we gotta listen to the policy of those people. What are they telling us? What are they telling? What are they going to do? Some candidates I've listened to, almost all the candidates, they come up with a policy. They're not just saying we're going to do. They are not coming up with that political jargon. They are putting their time there. They are promising, and they are making policies. Like they will tell you, say we're going to create jobs, and they tell you how will we create this job. Some people are coming up with a policy, and some they are not coming up with a policy. They're just saying we want to continue, or we were there before, so we want to come back and fix it. Why you didn't fix those? Yeah, you're not going to fix it. Why you didn't fix now? You're not going to fix it. So we need to listen to whatever policy those political people that are giving out there and be able to know the way forward for Liberia. Because if we miss this one, I don't know how Liberia going to be. So we
There's
cannot
hope.
afford to miss this
Is
one.
there hope or there's no hope?
There's hope if we do the right things on October 10th.
Thank you.
There's hope.
Snunty, will the young people in Liberia get it? Will they miss it? Is there hope for Liberia?
Look, I'm one to always say, and y'all already, may have heard this, may have not heard this. This is a general statement. We cannot keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. The change starts with us. If we want something to change as youth, as millennials, as a people, we have to we have to do something different. We have to know better, not just off of, voting for popularity or voting for a leader based off of emotions, or voting even because, we're from the same tribe. But we have to vote and see if that person is accountable. Does that person lead with integrity? Does that person lead with his heart on his sleeve? Does he have a true heart for his people? Is he speaking to his people's hearts and minds? What has he actually done that is a tangible proof to get out there, roll his sleeves up, he or she, and relate to the people? What has that person done? What is the track record? What can they bring? Their resources, their credibility. These are all things that are on the compliance and checklist that our brothers and sisters should be looking at. There's hope. There's so much hope. And when will that be determined? October 10th. I understand it's frustrating. A lot of people say to me, oh, Rocky, lead that team. We can't leave it. We can't leave it. We cannot literally afford another 6 years of, where we are. We have to do something different. And I will close with this. I'll end with this. We stand with you. I know a lot of people voice their concerns like, oh, y'all that in the diaspora, y'all y'all just sitting there. I want everybody to know that we stand with you. I plan to be in Liberia way before October 10th. So it's like, I don't understand your pain. I don't feel your pain because I have not walked in your shoes, but I want to put myself, and I condition myself to think, how is my brother and sister actually living today? What are their day-to-day activities? What kind of opportunities do I have here that I can take back home and actually implement, fast forward, and commit myself to doing? So we stand with you all. We want to say this is one love, and use your frustrations, your passions at the ballot box. October 10th is the determining factor, and we'll see.
Thank you so very much. And folks in cyberspace, we want to say thank you for also following the broadcast, for your comments. We'd appreciate you that you have afforded yourself the opportunity to listen to the young people of Liberia. This has been a fire chat with Liberian youth and millennials on Primetime Sunday here at Focus on Liberia. We will let you know when another edition is coming on. The young people of Liberia, no question, represent the future we crave for. If we are together, we must stand with them as they prepare themselves and as we play our role in their preparation. That is the only way. Anything short of that, we are doomed. I know that word scares you, but the truth, the Bible says, will set us free. We must prepare the young people so that they can be able to take the mantle of authority tomorrow. The young people must themselves prepare themselves so that they can be competent to do so. And that's the only way they will help the Liberia they want to help. The Liberia they want to see, they will not see it if they don't prepare themselves for that Liberia. It will take work. It will take integrity. And that is how it works. Until we see you again, the song says we are all Liberians. And mind you, the young people are the bigger chunk of Liberia. They are the ones who hold the future of that country in their hands. Enjoy the song, we are all Liberians, and we'll catch you another time when we do. Bye-bye, young people. We appreciate your perspective today. Thank you all.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our